Owning a Tesla is not as expensive as you might think. You really don't have to be rich to drive a Tesla. When you look at the true purchase price and the true total ownership cost of driving a Model 3, it could cost about the same as driving a much less expensive Toyota or Honda. Let's dive into the true purchase price and total cost of owning a Tesla Model 3. I'm Jonathan, and welcome to Cleanerwatt. I've heard people say in the past that electric vehicles were really just toys for the rich. However, that has changed over the last several years, especially with the introduction of great electric vehicles like the Model 3 that are actually quite affordable. And beyond just the purchase price, the total ownership cost is actually much lower than a comparable internal combustion engine vehicle as well. Right now, if you go to Tesla's website, you can purchase a Tesla Model 3 Standard Range Plus, which gives you 250 miles of range and is decently quick at 5.3 seconds to go 0 to 60 miles per hour. And you can get this vehicle before the delivery fee just under $38,000. Once you add the destination and document fee, this vehicle costs just over $39,000. Now, I do understand that ordinarily a $40,000 vehicle is out of reach for still a lot of people. However, an electric vehicle has a much lower running cost, and Teslas, specifically the Model 3, they have a very high value retention rate. So when you go to sell the vehicle, you retain a lot of the value, and so the actual amount you pay for the vehicle is much less at that point. So let's look at the true total car cost and also the total ownership cost of driving a Tesla Model 3 for 3 years and 15,000 miles per year and then selling that vehicle after 3 years. How much will this really cost you? In a minute, we'll calculate the total ownership cost, including running costs like insurance, energy cost, and things like that, and maintenance and repairs. But before we do that, I just want to emphasize how impressive the Tesla value retention really is and how that impacts the purchase cost of the vehicle itself and how much you actually pay for the vehicle itself that you're using, the portion of the vehicle that you're using for however long you own it. I'll dive into the math in just a second and show you how I got to this number, but the true 3-year cost of the car itself, the Model 3 itself, the portion of that you use while you own it for 3 years is only $10,803. Let's dive into the math, starting with depreciation or retained value numbers for the Tesla Model 3. In July, Electrek put out an article saying that the Tesla Model 3 maintained around 90% of its value after a 3-year ownership period. In that article, they showed a chart from iSeeCars.com that shows the Tesla Model 3, after 3 years of ownership, lost just around 10.2% of its value. In order to confirm this number, I went to kellybluebook.com and looked up the price of a 2017 Tesla Model 3 long-range rear-wheel drive that had a new price of around $44,000. And according to Kelley Blue Book, the private party value of this car with 45,000 miles is just over $37,000. This means that the Tesla Model 3 in 3 years only lost around 15% of its value. So if the purchase cost is just over $39,000 for the Model 3 and it retains 85% of its value after 3 years and 45,000 miles, that means that your car after 3 years is still worth over $33,000. Now let's figure out how much your loan balance would be after 3 years. If you go to Tesla's website right now and go to the loan calculator, they offer a 72-month loan with a 2.49% APR and a $4,500 down payment. This gives you a monthly payment of $519 a month. I pulled up an online loan calculator and inputted the same information that Tesla offers and found that after 3 years, your loan would be somewhere just under $18,000. If you add up the $519 per month estimated monthly payment plus the $4,500 down payment and a 7.5% tax rate, that gives you a total of that column of $26,123. If you were to sell your vehicle after 3 years for around $33,000 and you still owe just less than $18,000 on that loan, that would mean that you still had around $15,000 of equity in the vehicle. So to get to this $10,803 true cost of the car number, you simply need to take the total of money that you put out, the monthly payments, the down payment, and the tax you paid for the vehicle, subtract the amount of equity you still have in that vehicle, and that gives you the total true cost of the portion of the vehicle that you used in it 3 years of only $10,803. Now this is of course not the total ownership cost, we'll dive into that in just a second, but these numbers do show you that owning a Tesla Model 3 when it comes to just the vehicle itself because of its retained value is actually much lower than you might think. Just a little over $3,000 per year that you're paying for the use of the vehicle itself, the wear and the tear and the 3 years of using that vehicle. Now let's dive into the maintenance cost, the energy cost, and the insurance cost and see what the true total cost of ownership is with everything included. Electric vehicles in general require very little maintenance and also very little repairs. However, when it comes to a Tesla, they do recommend every 2 years or so you bring it to a Tesla service center, and that 25,000 mile service or 2-year service costs somewhere in the ballpark of around $425. Depending on how you drive the vehicle, you might need to replace the tires sometime in this 45,000 mile period, and that would cost around $750 to put a set of 4 tires on a Model 3. And every 2 years or so, you should replace the cabin filter for a cost of around $35. And that's really all that's involved in the maintenance of a Tesla Model 3. When it comes to the electricity cost or the energy cost of running the Tesla Model 3, it is the most efficient electric vehicle that is currently being manufactured. And according to fueleconomy.gov, it only costs around $450 per year, and that's accounted for 15,000 annual miles to drive the standard range Model 3. When you compare the efficiency of the Standard Range Plus Model 3 to other vehicles like the Polestar 2, the Volkswagen e-Golf, and also the Bolt EV, you can see how efficient this vehicle is. The cost of insuring a Tesla Model 3 Standard Range Plus is of course going to vary based on your driving record and the state you live in and your situation. However, in general, some of the quotes that I've gotten in the past were right around that $100 to $120 per month mark. And so we're going to go with $120 per month for a clean driving record for the insurance cost of the Tesla Model 3. So when you add up all these numbers in total, the down payment, the sales tax amount, the finance cost, your maintenance cost, your energy cost, the insurance cost, and also the amount of depreciation that you lose as well, this gives you a total 3-year, 45,000 mile cost of $22,264 or 49 cents per mile. So when it comes to the total ownership cost of a vehicle, you buy a Model 3 for around $40,000 and you sell it after 3 years. For each of those 3 years, the total ownership cost is just a little bit over $7,000 per year. So you have to ask yourself, is it worth $7,000 roughly per year for the total all-in cost of driving a Model 3? And you have to look at how does that compare to your normal costs for driving a vehicle. On top of that, depending on what country you live in and also what state you live in, there are often local incentives. For instance, in California, there are local incentives between $2,000 and $4,500 depending on your income. The state of Oregon also has similar incentives, Colorado, New York, and New Jersey as well. And this is just a small sample, of course. There are several other states that have some pretty good incentives, as well as other countries that have great incentives as well. So in the end, driving a Tesla Model 3 and driving an electric vehicle in general, even a more expensive electric vehicle, really doesn't cost as much as you think. As I've shown you, the true ownership cost and the true car cost can be quite affordable for a lot more people than normally could afford a $40,000 vehicle. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it and that you learned something as well. If you're not already subscribed to this channel, please consider subscribing. And if you do subscribe, if you click the bell icon, you'll be notified when new videos are published. Also, if you did like the video, please consider clicking that like button because that helps other people find the video as well. I also want to take a moment here at the end of the video to thank my Patreon supporters, those who support me every month and help me make this video content. If you'd like to find out more about the Patreon community that I've set up, I'll put a link in the description below. Thank you so much.